Hello everyone. Welcome to our live on breastfeeding versus bottle feeding, where we'll discuss the importance of breastfeeding and much more. So let's start with our introduction. I am Suyash Bhandari. I'm heading iThrive supplements vertical at iThrive, and I'm also a functional nutritionist. Along with me, we have Saloni Kulkarni. She's also a functional nutritionist as well as client service manager. So let's start our today's live where we'll be discussing about a lot of things related to breastfeeding, why it's important, about its education, why we need to educate as much as possible, to all the mothers, especially for the newborns. So, like I was also researching a lot of about stats of our Indian population, especially our Indian mothers who've been breastfeeding. So today, around 55% of children under 6 months are exclusively breastfed in the country. Only 55%. While this
So
should be,
that is just
yeah,
50%, Suresh. So
exactly. So
that's
that
very
that's why
surprising.
that's why it's become very important. Of course, we should also celebrate this, but progress must continue so that all the children will be
Exactly.
able to thrive, right? And also suddenly, like because we've been working with a lot of our clients, right? A lot of kid clients, especially who had autism, psoriasis, etc. And it's linked to inadequate breastfeeding exclusively for 6 months.
Exactly.
And starting too soon on commercial formula bottle feedings, we have tried to associate, right? So can you
True.
throw some light on that, or can you share opinion, on that as well? What we're seeing with the clients, and why breastfeeding is so important.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So coming to the clients where we have seen young kids basically who are literally aged 2.8 years old, 2.5 years old,
Yeah.
like very small kids who have been suffering with autism, ADHD, where their reflexes are not grown up. So thinking about this, when we went back into taking the client history basically from their mothers, we got to know that they were not breastfed. They literally started formula feeds before almost just 6 months for the kids, and that is really not
Hmm.
accepted because exclusive breastfeeding comes with a cause. So there's a reason behind it why the kids should be breastfed, just because
Right.
it will help in developing their immune system. That is how they'll progress. Okay, what happens with autism and ADHD is their gut microbiome is not developed as much
Right.
as it should be, and hence their essential fatty acids needs are not met, and that's the reason why their reflexes are not developed. And it's a
Right.
complete combination of diseases which comes and which arises in these kids at a very early age, and that's really very sad to know, because the women thinking about multiple factors, maybe looking at their body, I would say they don't want to breastfeed the kids. So it's multiple factors which comes along with it.
Right, right, right. Very, very beautifully put, Samrini. Why it's so important, and what we are seeing the link with a lot of our kid clients as well. So to ensure an infant will grow into a healthy, responsible adult, proper nutrition is crucial for sure.
Yes,
Undoubtedly, the best way to do this is by breastfeeding, and milk is created by nature to give a best perfect nutrition, which brings me to
yes,
its importance now. Let's discuss about its importance, and what we'll do, we'll just divide it in different factors like physical, emotional, what are its
right.
importance. So let's start with physical importance for breast milk. So how important it is physically for a baby to grow, and like through breast milk. So if you can throw some light, like what are the factors development, like let's say their gut microbiome, their bones, joints, whatever, the physical
Yes,
development of the child. If you can just throw some light on that, how important it is, and how breast milk helps to contribute to that development.
yes. So what happens is breast milk has the correct composition and ratios of the essential fatty acids, that is DHA as well as EPA. Okay, along with it, it also has certain amount of proteins which the body's is basic need for the proteins, because our body structure is developed on proteins and peptides, right?
Right,
So
right,
breast milk gives that an appropriate amount. During infancy, the kids usually need this because their gut is not developed. Okay,
right.
because when they were in the womb, they were just the nutrients which were passed through the mother's body was through just the cord, umbilical cord, and
Mhm.
that is how the exchange of nutrient happens, right? So
Right.
that is how it was there. So when the body baby comes out of the body, the baby has to adapt to the external environmental conditions and develop its own immune system. Okay, which is also known as innate
Right.
immune system. So
Right.
that is one thing, because that is the first line of defense for the baby, since it is required. Moreover, it also has lactose, it also has oligosaccharides, it also has energy, which the
Mhm.
baby's body requires. Okay. Moreover, talking about water, I would say we won't really recommend having water or giving baby the sips of water, because it's not needed. Breast milk has sufficient liquid, sufficient amount of water, which can help the baby help stay hydrated throughout the feedings.
Hmm, 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 hmm. Great. Okay. So, like it has so many benefits, right? And there is no substitute for it for sure, because
Not at all, not at
it
all.
contains a perfect balance what the baby requires, to grow, especially from enzymes, from hormones, from proteins, fats. Like it's like a
All the
very very,
micros as well as micros.
yeah, tailor made for that baby to grow. So definitely there
Yes,
is no substitute for that. And which brings me to its other aspect, which is often not talk about, which is its emotional bonding with the mother. Like because
right,
I'm now a new father, and I've seen like how my 7 month old kid is has a very very great bonding with Nirisha.
right.
And then the way now she started to recognize that bonding, she like has a very very emotional connect with that. So if you can throw some light on that as well, that would be really great to understand that, not only physically but for a mind to develop and for emotions to develop, how important the breast milk is.
So the emotions are something where, if you see, there's a concept of breast crawl. Okay, so if you just lie down the baby on mother's stomach area, the baby will crawl up to the breast and start having sucking reflexes. Okay, so that is one of the reflex which the baby gives. Moreover, talking about bonds, it's a very, in, I won't say like it cannot be put into words definitely, because that's a
Right.
very different kind of bond. And it's very important because the baby will start recognizing mother's voice, mother's body, the smell,
Mhm.
the touch, the skin to skin contact, which is really important for the baby's growth. Moreover, by this connect and this emotional bonding, the baby will feel secure about his own living.
Right. Right.
Right.
And
And something you can also tell, like your life
yeah,
experience,
yeah.
which you
So
have
yeah, so
observed.
when of course I was visiting, and what I was seeing, how the bonding is connecting, especially to Nisha as well. So Nisha also often used to share with me, how she feels, when her baby is like feeding on me. So one is the baby's aspect. When the moment the sucking reflex start, right, the oxytocin hormone starts to release in the body, which is a feel good hormone. We all know, right? So baby used to satisfy that emotions that way, and then mother also used to feel good because her child was having that meal, and like she was feeling happy, right? So that, I think that's why it's very very important and essential to do that, to because the emotions, the initial bonding, all starts to develop initially, right? That's where I think for a baby to feel to not to feel like abundant, right? The
True.
way they accept and the way the love develops, the everything, so everything develops, I think that's it. So emotionally for sure,
It's
it's
all about the love, care, and
yes,
just feeling
I think feeling
secure.
secure,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
because coming out of the womb was like being in a womb was very secure feeling. But when you come out, you have to have that security as well, right?
Right,
And
right,
that is how
right,
the
right.
baby is going to transition, and his brain is going to be
Yeah.
programmed throughout his lifetime.
Right, exactly, exactly. True. So, talking about because we talked now, like we talked about physical aspect and an emotional aspect, and also we talked about nutrients, whatever like are in the milk itself. I would also like to tell about like, or maybe discuss about colostrum, the
The
first
first
milk
milk.
which is produced, and why it is so important for that baby to get. If you can also throw some light, of course. Uh, like that's a great way to get it. So please, you
Yes.
can throw some
So
light on that.
basically, colostrum is like a magical milk, I would say, that the baby receives. That is the breast milk. Okay, so being mammals, being humans, we us ought to have this milk, like the mothers have to feed this, because first thing is when the babies come out within 1 hour, if you just breastfed the baby, it's really good for developing his immune system. Okay. Moreover, this will also initiate generating or antibodies, I would say, which will help in fighting infections throughout his
Right,
lifetime. Okay, the viral infections, bacterial, fungal, yeast infections, multiple
right,
factors.
right. So
Okay.
basically, it's their first line of defense, right?
Yeah, the first line of defense is the colostrum. Okay,
Yes.
so whenever nowadays also we see, like whenever there's any gut issues, the colostrum
Yeah,
supplement is given, right? So
exactly. Yes.
it's with some of the purpose. So that is the reason why you give this colostrum first. That
Right,
is really important, and this is yellowish in color.
right.
If you go with the composition and everything.
So I
Okay,
think there
so
is some particular word in Marathi, right, which you as called khavas or something.
kharovas.
Yeah, yeah. You get it perfectly.
Yes, that is what the cow's milk, I would say,
Yeah, right.
after weaning of the baby,
Right.
basically.
Right. So also to just to add on to that, it has a lot of immunoglobulins, right, which
Yes.
helps to increase the secretory IgA in our gut linings and helps to increase the gut integrity itself, and that's why we give a lot of our clients who have gut issues as well, right? So for sure, like colostrum is the one milk which we need to give often. Of course, there is a
And
question,
colostrum also has this like water. The concentration of water is also there. It's thick, but it has water concentration. So
right? So
that will
the
help baby to feel hydrated also. So it's not that you have to worry whether the baby is having enough amount of water or not. So six
right.
months of exclusive breastfeeding is what we
So
would really
basically, it will
recommend.
establish its gut microbiome, and it will also help to fight
Yes.
infection, which both of them are needed for a baby to thrive in this world, right?
Yes, yes. And the milk production also starts changing based upon how the baby is growing, how many
Right.
amount of feeds
Right. It
he or
like how
she is
many amount of
having.
milk the baby is having accordingly, the
Yes.
composition starts to change, right? Truly. And there's a question by Manisha that if the production of milk is low, what all nutrients is required by mother to increase the milk production instead of switching to bottle feeding? So,
So here I would say, Manisha, the milk which your baby requires is going to be there. It's nothing like low or high. Okay, so basically lactating women should have multiple good amount of nutrients as well as supplements. Maybe Suyash, you can throw light around supplements in that case. But having good sources of carbohydrates, I would say protein and essential fats also. Okay, so it's not that you should have sugars, because sugars will again lead to yeast infection, which can get transmitted to the baby, which we don't want.
right,
Okay,
right,
so the appropriate portion of all these and a balanced meal, which will also have certain amount of nutrients, few nuts which will be good, like essential fatty acids would be in good portions, would be better option rather than switching to bottle feeding. Bottle feeding, we won't really go into it because the cap of the bottle where the baby will suck is also made out of plastic. Okay, so
right,
that is
right.
really not good. The toxins will come inside the body. Moreover, every time when you feed, you have to sterilize it. That is heating it. Heating, as we all know, like plastics will have xenoestrogens that will get into the baby's body. It will start changing the hormonal system, which we really don't want in the babies,
Right, right, right.
right?
And in my experience, what I've seen is like there are few foods which are traditional mothers, used to give to a newly nursing mom, like things like gone, which is also called ding, I think,
Gone.
in Marathi.
Right. The
Yeah,
galactobox basically is the word
yeah.
for that, that they
Yeah, and
make
fenugreek seeds,
laddus.
yeah, exactly made of that, and that helps to increase the production of the milk. That I think that is one way which I think, especially for the initial 2 or 3 months, that's been given for the
Yes.
milk to supply in a manner, right? I think so. That's one thing, and then as you said regarding the supplementation part, so for sure I would like to know. Like put focus that there are essential nutrients which are totally required by the female for to develop their all the nutrients in the milk and to make the milk complete. So let's say a good prenatal which has all the multi vitamins as well as a slight amount of iron with complete amount of calcium and other things which is actually helpful for the baby to get all these nutrients as well. And then second very very essential supplement comes is omega 3s, like for the
Right.
you know, around 200 mg of DHA per day by a woman is required to make sure, that DHA is also going into the
to
baby
the baby.
system, and then baby will help with brain development of the baby and other things as well, right? So these are two essential. Besides that, magnesium, zinc, all the ones which we have at essentials and which we keep on talking about, that are very very important as well. But first and foremost, diet plays a very important part, which you really like clearly put the light on. Uh,
Right.
Now, talking in certain cases, let's say if there are some exceptions like C-sections, or when there is too hard for the mom to feed them properly, right? Or if at all there's very very low milk coming, or if the doctor asks to go for commercial formulas or those things. So how like how should they go, or what could be the substitute, and what could be answer to them, right? My One of the things which I've seen is like there are nowadays, of course it was very very vast approach taken by western countries, but now I think India is also
True.
developing human donor milk, right? So
Yeah.
even breast milk, there are different banks which has breast milk as their donating system. So I think that's one way they can get. Apart from that, if you know any other ways, to
Yeah,
help. Yeah.
so what we can do is if you know anyone from the neighborhood is a
Right.
lactating mother, probably you can ask her if she's ready to
Right.
breastfeed your kid, I would say. So
Right.
surprisingly, here's one thing, like my personal thing, I would say. So during my childhood, I used to be at my mama's place. So my mama was also a lactating mother that time when I was born. So she used to breastfeed me. So that's how my parents did. Okay, so like my mom was like, "Ki,
Okay.
mommy can breastfeed me." So that is how I was exclusively breastfed also.
Right. Right.
Okay, so
Right.
something like this, if you can do some
Or
of your
things like
friends.
massaging the breast itself or stimulating the nipples. I think that also helps in
Yeah,
certain cases, right? And if at all, let's say if you're not able to get that, and if where a formula is necessary, then definitely I will say not to feed the other stuff which is the commercial ones, or
true.
bottle feeding. Get into touch with a person who can help you, like a healthcare practitioner who knows what kind of homemade formulas baby can start to on safely, effectively, in a monitored way. And that will be a better, I think, better approach to go, instead of giving just, okay, you can have this
Yes,
formula,
because
because
they'll be able to calculate as well, na, how much is
exactly.
needed by the
Right.
baby, at what age, how many weeks during infancy is a very critical age, right?
Right. And then the colic issues or gas, bloating for the baby,
Exactly.
right? So you need to be aware about all that stuff, and you can easily monitor that way, right? So now, being like not that, now let's just discuss. Now we have sufficiently discussed what are few like what is the importance majorly of breastfeeding in different
True.
aspects. Now let's discuss. If we compare, like, or if of course there is no comparison, but when we compare human versus milk versus infant formula, I completely know that human milk will outcast infant formula.
Yes, it's
But
the best one.
just for our audience to know, because what happens is, we know, we have studied that and we have practiced that, so we know that. But if you can just try to help out, like what are the stuff, like what are the stuff which you found in infant formula which is dangerous for the baby, and why she shouldn't be going for the infant formula as well. So if you can
Yes,
just
so
yeah.
over here the concentration of lactose, I would say, and just to make it palatable, they can add sugars also. So too much of sugars
Right.
can impact baby's gut. Okay,
Right.
it will cause multiple gut issues. The baby might have constipation, which can start. Okay, because the gut is not developed. You just imagine it's just a pot which has nothing in it. Okay, so it's like sugars, the additives. Moreover, just to make it sustainable, commercial formula, they also have to add stabilizers into it. Okay, so that is really going to impact babies more.
Like soy
It's not,
lecithin and
yeah,
maltodextrin
and
and other stuff.
multiple factors,
Yeah.
multiple ones. And soy is one of the GMO which is highly processed, I would say, which comes along with
Right.
xenoestrogens also.
Right.
Right. So why to unnecessarily take hormones for the
Right.
baby?
Right.
Again, what happens with infant formula feeds is they won't develop the taste, like the taste, what we say now, they'll be just addicted to sweet taste is what we have seen in kids. Like few of the kids which were there with us for autism or maybe ADHD, they were just inclined towards the sweeter taste. Okay,
Right.
so when you go back, you understand it is just the sugar compound which was there in it.
Right. And I was also, reading about more for this life, when I was preparing for it and researching about it more. What I
Yeah.
also came across my, work was that uh, it gives a false indication to the baby's body, right, that the food is coming in, but which it is not in right in proper amount of nutrients, not made in the body, like of the not like not filled with emotions or other hormones. So it gives a false signal, to the baby. And then if the baby doesn't receive nutrients, the baby will keep eating, and the baby will
True.
become fussy and other stuff. And later in the life, they can, develop metabolic syndromes like diabetes
Oh,
and, other, things like that. Because what happened, their bodies, immune system, bodies in genetics, like tuned that way from initial stage, right?
true.
That was the thing which, I was considering, and I was like seeing that it really should. And one of the case I would like to discuss was that, early in their, I think, we had a client that as well, like who, who was started to have formula feed in almost, I think, third or fourth week itself, after that,
Oh,
she was born. And his, like, he was having ADD or ADHD, and his gut microbiome was totally,
messed
messed
up.
up, because he didn't got those nutrients which was essential for its growth, right? So
True.
definitely, like, there are a lot of consequences and downsides of formula feed. And one should definitely, it should be a very, very last resort. I like, of course, in a dictionary it shouldn't be, followed, but if there's nothing else work, then it should be the last resort. But before it, human donor milk, as you said, neighbor's milk, homemade, good ingredients, formula milk, based on their requirement. I think that is more important. There's a
Yes.
question from Apeksha. Does smoking and alcohol taken in early lifestyle can affect later during nursing? Would you
So
like?
yes, it will definitely impact. Okay, so when you're planning for a pregnancy also, we would recommend like avoid having it throughout your pregnancy also you will be not having, but it is definitely going to impact. Basically, why it will cause oxidative stress, one thing. Another thing is alcohol is nothing but just the empty calories that you will be having and which comes with different metabolites which happens inside your body, okay, affecting your own liver enzymes. And
Mm-hmm.
usually this alcohol can get passed to the baby as well while you're nursing because whatever you eat is going to go through the breast milk. Okay, not exactly alcohol will go, but some of the other metabolites of it.
Right, right. There is another question by Pankuri. How to develop sucking reflex in the baby so that he or she feeds on breast milk?
Oh, this is an interesting one, I would say.
Yeah,
So the first thing over here would be the breast crawl because the baby will move in the direction of the breast, that is the nipple.
right.
Okay. Moreover,
So
what you can
just
do,
keeping besides the nipple, and then let the baby, try
yes,
to find listen to
and the
it.
baby has this inner in them that they will develop this
Right.
reflex. Okay, so another thing is like touching on the lower lips can also
Yeah.
initiate with your
Right.
pinky finger basically. Moreover, when
Mm-hmm.
the baby is hungry they will crave for it. Okay, so
Right.
make sure whenever you put the baby for feeding, the baby covers the complete areola part of your breast. Okay, so it
Right.
should not be just the nipple because if it's just the nipple, you can get soreness of the nipple once you breastfeed the kid. Okay, so make sure that the baby's mouth is completely over that areola part, and areola is like the dark colored part which is there surrounding the nipples.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And which reminds me of, another thing, like, a lot of mothers complain, especially initially, when I think, in the first or second month, that their nipples being, sore, cracked up, and
Yeah.
so, like, if you, like, what I saw with Nisha was like she used to apply, ghee and she used to apply, there's a home remedies, for that to help overcome
Yes.
that. I think you can also suggest, if you are, aware about those, what are the things, like what are
Basically,
the.
washing it and cleaning it after every feed is one thing that you can do. Okay,
Okay.
so that is one thing. Applying ghee, coconut oil can also be one of the good thing. But again, ghee and coconut oil should be organic, or if you have
Right,
prepared it at
exactly.
home, that's good.
High quality.
Because the thing is, if it's not organic, if it's not prepared at home, there's a toxin exposure
Toxin
again to
exposure.
the baby, which we
Agreed.
don't want. Okay, and
Right,
keeping the area clean, basically, that is going to be really helpful.
right, right. Cool.
And
uh,
basically attaching the baby properly. If you really attach the baby properly, like I mentioned about the areola part, that is
right,
really going to lower down the soreness.
right, right, right. So there's another question by Shanika, that for how many hours can the breast milk be stored if a breast pump is used?
So we won't really say go with the breast pump, because if you're just using the breast pump, again, how are you going to feed the babies? Again, going to be in the form of bottles. Okay.
Right, right. So
So
then
that
toxic
is,
exposure will be there for sure.
again, it is
Right.
going to come. So we would really not tell going over there.
And even if, like, when I was researching about this, even if there are, new parents, whom, for someone who become like challenging, to do that, frequent feedings, and if someone would like to go with storing it in a container and feeding with bottles, go for the glass bottles and the silicone ones,
Yeah,
which is least toxic, and which has least toxic exposure for sure. And I think, as far as the timing is concerned, I think it's around, 12 to 24 hours. It can safely be kept in the room temperature. But it's always best, not to use that technique, because the fresh, again, the better, the fresh feeding, the better the results will be. It should be used rarely, only or only occasionally, whenever the need arises for that same.
true.
Right. uh,
Absolutely true.
There's a question about Pankuri. Any solution for mastitis? Anything?
So mastitis is basically the redness and swollen part which comes. So basically, having warm compresses can help in this. Okay, so that is one of
Right.
the thing, and keeping the area clean, as I already mentioned. That is one thing.
Right.
And maybe you can try switching between the feeds whenever you're feeding after, supposing it's too early, 3 early or 4 early. You can also do one thing, like you can feed from right breast once, then the left breast. So it's not just one breast which will happen.
Alternatively.
Yeah.
Right. 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 Okay. So now,
So
because
over
here,
here,
yes.
I would like to just highlight one more thing. So it's not just like the mothers will be having problems. Okay, so usually mothers are scared because they have a feeling that they are going to have so issues, so many issues basically coming with breastfeeding. But it's not so. The way it's helpful for the baby, it is for the mother as well. It comes with
Right.
benefits for mother, which is like it protects against breast and ovarian cancers because the hormonal production happens. So the estrogen progesterone levels are also coming into range slowly after the baby is born. So we would really urge you to breastfeed so that it lowers your own risk for developing breast cancers, ovarian cancers. Going up forward in your later life, the diabetes is one of the thing, and it also aids in losing weight also, which excess weight is put on during your pregnancy time.
Right, 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 right. And how often, like what I have seen with, a lot of, clients, other clients as well, that lot of nursing moms has been advised to, wean off early by a lot of pediatricians. I'm not sure why, but what they say is like, you can start weaning for after 4 months, and
Yeah,
that's the stuff. So now, in our experience, we know that why breastfeeding is very, very important. Exclusively for 6 months, nothing to be done, only breastfeeding. If you see the traditional culture, it was that way. Even,
true.
if you see from the perspective of nutrients, development, emotional bonding, everything, and even the gut itself is not ready, right?
True.
before 6 months, to handle any kind of external food, right? Even if you see the baby's gut is the form of has leaking holes, right? Until unless the, I think, age of
Yes.
maybe 8, or somewhere around 7 or 8 months, right? Once you
True.
start to feed them. So that is one of very, very important. If you are giving any kind of grains or legumes, in too early stage, after 4 or 5 months, which in mostly formula foods has, right, grains and legumes kind of stuff. And it also can contain other anti-nutrients, so it's best not to be given that. Our recommendation will be exclusively breastfeed for 6 months at least. Okay. Even like something what I was searching and discussing with my wife as well was that how important it is to even breastfeed post 6 months, at least in the
Yes.
age of around one to 1.5 year, right? What are certain benefits, even like for those kids, once they feed post even that 6 months period. Can throw some light on that.
Yes. So basically, when we start with complementary fees after 6 months, so it will be like starting again in phases. Okay, so you cannot directly give a chapati or a rice directly to the kid. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the gut is not going to tolerate it. They are going to throw it off. So the benefits
Right.
comes like the breast milk will still keep on providing the essential nutrients which are required as per the baby's growth.
Right.
Okay, that is one thing. Moreover, there won't be milk clots inside mother's breast also. Okay,
Right.
because the baby is drinking that milk.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, weaning, I would say like 1.5 year is still fine to have breast milk along with the complementary feeds because that is how the baby is going to grow.
Right.
Moreover, it will also help him provide satiety. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
if you are including four complementary meals, maybe twice or thrice breastfeeding will make your baby stomach full.
Right. Right. And
And this will develop a sense of appetite filling also inside the baby because for 6 months the baby is just used to have that breast milk, that
exactly. So that
feeling, the palate
satisfaction,
feeling.
the satiety levels, reach like for that the baby need that milk at least. No matter whatever he starts eating, but for
Yes,
satiety levels to reach his brain, he needs to have that, right? And like of course one of the major benefit is that it helps to prevent from infections, because mother's milk is always rich in immunoglobulins and it has immuno
right.
enhancing effects for sure. Besides that, anything, any other perspective you would, or any other importance you would like to throw some light on, because we've discussed with good amount of benefits now. Almost we've touched all the aspect as well, why it is
Yes.
important now. By the time if the people, like our viewers must be watching, they will be knowing that what is the importance of breastfeeding. But have we left any perspective to be touched, or anything which you would like to comment or say about it, or like anything from your side? If you have.
Yes. So, in few researches which I was reading yesterday itself, like they were showing if the babies, like a comparative study basically, for the babies who were breastfed as well as babies who are not breastfed exclusively for 6 months. Okay. So, the duration that they took was 6 months ka exclusive breastfeeding. So, the ones who are not fed, that were they had a higher chances of developing obesity, like childhood obesity. So now as we see, the childhood obesity is really on rise. Okay, every
Right.
child, if you see, will have some of the other nutrient deficiencies probably, or something like they won't have energies, they are not growing as per their age which is required as per their body growth charts. So
Right.
this is one thing where the physical growth also happens of the kids.
Hmm.
So that is one thing, that was one aspect. Moreover, their immune system. Okay, so nowadays if there's a slight change of weather, kids fall sick. Okay,
Right. Right.
then even if you see why that is happening is because the kids are not left out to go out or just be in a secured nature. Okay, so parents won't allow them to just roam here and there around the floor. So if they are not being exposed to certain things, they are not going to understand, the body is not going
Right.
to understand that reflex. So it goes very simple. If you touch a hot pan, your finger will come up, like it will just
Right. Right.
get here.
The
Okay,
reflex
so
action itself
that
to
is
develop.
reflex, which is a
Right.
very constant reflex and a
Yeah.
sudden one. Okay, your body doesn't have to sit and think also. So
Right.
that would be a really urge for all
So
lactating mothers.
basically, like, expose them to life, right, in general,
Yeah,
not control them much, right?
exactly.
Expose
And
them to other children's, to be in contact with others, so that's how they'll develop a good gut microbiome and they will be healthy, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And moreover, keeping them happy as well, talking with them. Just because, see, they are going to listen to us and then only they are going
Right,
to
right.
give us the reflexes, right? So you might be knowing this very well, right, Suyash?
Yeah, definitely. Like now, after I think I still remember. I think maybe after third or the fourth month, I start to notice, the way she was, responding to the things which were doing, or maybe to the senses itself, like like tingling,
Yes.
tickling, sex sensations, and other stuff as well. So it was, of course, it would become a lot fascinating after that. And also, one thing which I just reminded, the way, like, now we are following approach. Now she's, 7.5 month old, but still she needs, like, she to be breastfed. Now we have also started doing whatever food we are giving, just to make sure that she satisfies after it. So we have started to put milk in that. So let's say if you're giving a
Okay.
banana, we start mash it, and then we just put some milk, so it becomes very liquidy, and some,
Yes.
very palatable, like, and the kid also enjoys that, and sleeps with saddle of stomach. So
True.
I think that's how I think Nisha does that at home, and I think that's what I'm learning, still learning, a lot of the stuff as well
Yes.
from her as well.
And even adding
So,
certain spices to, even if you say banana, adding certain amount of spices will also develop a taste
like
for
salt,
foods.
like, maybe
Yes,
Himalayan
salt,
pink salt and other stuff, right, to make it more palatable for a
palatable.
kid to eat, right?
Yes, yes,
Food.
yes.
Right. Of course, the weaning food is, it needs to be another life for that.
Another life,
This is
I
a
would
whole
say.
vast vast
True.
topic, right? I totally agree with that, and it's a lot of information to share. But I think it was a great interacting with you, Saloni. We have
Yes.
definitely touched almost all the aspects of why breastfeeding is important and why one should not, turn towards bottle feeding or formula feeding. Any closure comments you would like to add on or leave our viewers with?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's really great to see your baby growing. So for that, it's your responsibility that you stay healthy, you eat properly. Like the lactating mothers should focus on their health as well. It's not like you just have to focus on kids' health. So in that
Right.
duration, you don't eat, you just leave, you just have to breastfeed. Moreover, prioritize your kid over the work. I won't say that don't work.
Right.
Work is also an important
But the
aspect of your
initial
life.
time does require
Yeah,
mom's
at
attention,
least
right?
six
Yeah.
months. We are not
Yeah,
asking you
exactly.
to just sit, and even companies are allowing that, right? Six
Right,
months
right,
of pregnancy and lactation leaves are allowed.
right.
So
Totally.
that's your right to all women out over there who are lactating mothers. I would say give
Right,
your child this 6 months because those are really crucial days for your child's growth and through his lifetime. So it is really important for him or her to really grow well, be healthy adults, so that it's good for them as well. So please make them a priority over every other aspect.
right.
And
Healthy and responsible adults.
family members can be of great support over here, I would say. They can also take care of the baby whenever required. So the mother also gets rest.
Right,
Okay.
right, right, right.
So
Totally
there
agree
are
with that.
physical changes also which
Yeah.
happens in the mother's body. So the family members play a crucial role as well.
Yeah, to support her from the recovery and other
Yes.
things, like, major thing what I've realized with her is, like, she needs a lot of sleep, especially, after that, because what happens is the sleep cycles are still being developed, right, for the
Hmm.
kid. So what happens, like, whenever you can get sleep, is like you need to sleep, right? So that, I think, that is where we as husbands, or as, partners, needs to step in, and I think take the responsibility to, take care of the kid, so that the mother can sleep, rest, and recover. I think not only, partners, but only it can be family members, anyone. But yeah, definitely they need our support, and that's a very, very important part, which you touched on. And
Yes.
I think that's all. I'll again try to put an emphasis that there is no substitute for breast milk, no formula, no nutrient, no supplement, I will say, that can, take away breast milk, or can be substituted from breast milk, right?
True.
So, okay, I think that's all. Happy breastfeeding week, guys.
Yes.
We'll be catching you on another live as well. Thank you for watching us, and thanks for your love, guys. I think thank you, Saloni, so much
Yes.
for your inputs, for your interaction and discussion, and throwing light on various aspects of important nutrition. Take care. Have a
Yes.
good day. Bye bye.